Creatives or entrepreneurial type people, they've got to be creating something, because otherwise they're going to be spiraling off into anxiety and depression, and whatever's inside of them is not going to go out into the world, and that would be unfortunate. And I didn't want that for myself, so I created a system that I've implemented, and it's really helped me become more creative and to actually get things done. And no, it's not some system where I'm like going on Google Calendar and scheduling every 15 minutes of my life. I've never been able to follow that in the past anyways. But this system is rather simple, and I can keep it consistent, and it's just 3 parts. And the first 2 parts are so simple, I don't even really have to explain anything. But the third one is where everything comes together. It's the cornerstone of this whole system. I want you to follow along with me as we implement this system. So number 1, it's going to be an idea capture system. It's just a to-do list, basically. If you have ideas about what you want to do, or if you get obligations, just any task that you're going to have to do now or in the future, you're going to put it in the to-do list. As I said, it's nothing complicated, but it's just a piece of the puzzle, and we're going to put it all together in the third part. Second is a calendar. You know what a calendar is. I don't really have to explain. You can put it on paper, you can put it on your phone. So now we're on number 3. Now this is the important part, and this is the cornerstone for everything, where it all comes together. And I want to start out with a bit more of a difficult assignment, and that's to write out your vision. Now, before you click off the video, because this is just some like generic self-improvement stuff, I know I've done like those assignments where I like write out my like grand vision, and then the very next day I just forget it and it just dies in the past. But that's not what's going to go on here. I promise that after this, you're going to have a system where you're keeping it alive, like day to day. You're actually living out the vision in the present. But first, we're going to have to do the vision part. So you're going to set, I don't know what time scale you're going to work on. I did 5 years because it's not like 20 years where I don't really know what's going to happen, but it's not 1 year where I kind of already know what's going to happen. So I did 5 years. You can do whatever you want, but just think through, like, what do you actually want to have done during that time? What do you want to have accomplished? And then you put that down, and then now I have a 5-year goal. And then now I'm going to break that down this year. Not like what am I going to do every 5, like throughout the 5 years, but what do I just want to do this year that's going to lead me to that 5-year goal. And then once I have that, I'm going to break it down into what am I going to do this quarter to achieve that 1-year goal. And then what am I going to do this month in order to achieve the quarterly goal. And then so on. What am I going to do this week? And what am I going to do today? Now this might seem like another one of those like self-improvement tips and tricks where I'm breaking down the big goal into smaller goals, but I promise that that's not what's going on here, because this is still going to keep it alive, and it's going to be dynamic, it's going to adapt. But we have that pyramid now with the vision going all the way up to just today. So the vision, 5 years, this year, this quarter, this month, this week, this day, like this very day, what am I going to do to contribute to that vision? So now what are we going to do with that? Like, we have it written out, but how are we going to actually keep this alive day to day so that we keep working towards the vision every day and not just forget about this? And for that, I want you at the end of today to write out what you did today, and then write out what you want to do tomorrow. And well, how do we figure out what to do tomorrow? We look at the calendar, but nothing's in the calendar right now. So we look at the to-do list, and then we start moving items from the to-do list into the calendar. But how do we determine which items to move? Now we have to learn to prioritize, because a lot of the stuff on that to-do list, it's gonna actually have to be trashed, because we get so many like ideas and things to do that we're never gonna have enough time or effort to do all of it. Now we can work hard, we can try to maximize that, but even then, like if you're like me and like get a ton of ideas, like even if you work really hard and like maximize that out, you're still gonna be creating ideas faster than you can execute. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to prioritize some of those ideas. They're going to have to die. But the way that we prioritize is by looking at that pyramid that we just made. So if you're trying to figure out what to do tomorrow and which to prioritize, look at your goal for this week. Because of course there's going to be today, there's going to be tomorrow, and then the day after that, and it's going to add up to a week. And we just set a goal for that week, right? On the pyramid, we just set that goal. So we can go back and reference that goal when we're planning for tomorrow. And guess what? At the end of the week, after we've done all of our reviews every single day and made goals for the next day, we get to the end of the week. And then at the end of the week, we do another review of the entire week. And then we say, what do we want to do next week? And then we start moving stuff from the calendar, from the to-do list onto the calendar for next week as well. And then guess what? If we're unsure about what to prioritize for next week, we look at the goals for this month. So you just wrote the goal for this month. If next week when you do that weekly review, you don't really know exactly what direction to head in, you know where to look for guidance. You look at this month's goals. And then you get to the end of the month, you do the same thing. You're like, what do I want to do next month? Well, what determines that? What determines that is this quarter's goal or this year's goal if you skip the quarters division. What's essential with this system is that we're constantly checking ourselves. We're not just existing in this like weird, vague, like almost timeless existence. We're having the schedule like every day I'm checking myself. Every week I'm checking what I did this week. Every month I'm checking what I did this month. So there's not a lot of room to just kind of sit around and like let time pass by without actively keeping track of things. So before you get off this video, I want you to have the to-do list set up. I want you to have the calendar set up. I want you to have those reviews scheduled on the calendar. And then I want you every single night to write that daily review. What did I do today? What do I want to do tomorrow? And then when you get to the weekly review, then you'll be ready to just keep on continuing that. And then hopefully you'll be making some really good progress towards your goal. Especially seeing that calendar, seeing the tasks that you have to do lined up, it gives you that accountability and gives you that pressure. Like it's quite obvious when you hit the goal or when you didn't hit the goal. So yeah, get that system set up, and hopefully this helped you. I know it certainly helped me, and yeah, let's get some things done.